The sponsor of this video is Massdrop. Massdrop hosts group buys of products voted on by the community. Some of the cool tech stuff they do is mechanical keyboards and audio stuff like headphones. Basically, the more people that join the group buy, the cheaper and cheaper everybody gets it for, so it's kind of like a win-win situation. Anyway, use the link in the description to go make an account, check it out, and help support the channel at the same time. It has taken me a long time to make this review, and that was part procrastination, but also part really getting to know this device from the point of view of an average consumer, someone actually using the device on a daily basis and getting to know its pros and cons in a period of about 3 months. So real quick touch on pricing, the 16GB model is $650 off contract, and then the 64 and 128GB models are $100 and $200 more expensive, respectively. It had more than 4 million pre-orders and 10 million sales in the first weekend, so already the iPhone 6 is one of the best-selling phones of 2014. Honestly, the iPhone 6 has a really good look. I'm personally not a big fan of the antennas on the top and bottom of the back, but the curved aluminum design makes it look really premium, even if it is extremely slippery because of that. The iPhone 6 is big for a 4.7-inch screen, but it's not that big of a phone. It's pretty manageable even with one hand. Most actions and maneuvers are never more than one hand shift or one action away, especially with reachability, which means bringing that whole top half of the screen down is only two taps on the home button away. So one-handed use is definitely possible with this iPhone, which is really helpful whether you're texting in class or you're somebody who drives and texts, so you just need to use it with one hand. It is definitely still manageable. So I mentioned the back was made out of aluminum, which has a bunch of good things and a few bad things associated with it. On the bright side, it is extremely cold and nice to touch in the morning. It feels light in the hand, but it also just feels good in the hand. It feels like you're holding a valuable piece of technology, which is underestimated in the tech community. But on the bad side of things, like the HTC One M8, the aluminum build also makes it rather slippery, especially with the curved, seamless design. It's almost too easy to slip out of your hand. I did actually use a case at first because I was so worried about dropping it, but then I moved over to a D-brand skin, which kind of gave me the more grip over the aluminum, but didn't add as much bulk, and I took that skin off for this review so I could have the naked shots for the video throughout this video. But really, leaving it naked without anything on it makes me uncomfortable. I'm not comfortable using it naked for that long of a period of time. I know if I went with this phone for 2 years with nothing on it, I would drop it probably within the first 6 months and it would break. So I definitely recommend at least putting a skin on, and if you can, put a case on. If you do drop it without a case, which is a worst case scenario, get it, case, it really depends where it hits the ground. If it hits it on the back of the phone, you're probably fine. Even the camera has sapphire glass, so you're pretty much good there. But if you drop it anywhere on the front, you're link in the description to go check out my drop test if you want to see how it fared. So everything up to this point had a lot to do with form, and I want to get into function. I'm going to do a quick overview of the I/O, or the buttons all over the phone, because it's kind of boring, so I'll just run through it quickly. On the front, you have your camera, your front-facing camera, your call speaker, and Touch ID, which is completely underestimated. I love Touch ID. On the bottom, you have your headphone jack, mic, lightning connector, and speaker. On the right, you have your newly placed power button that is much more ergonomic, and your SIM tray. On the top, you have absolutely nothing. On the left, you have your mute button and volume rockers, and on the back you have your antennas, stainless steel logo, and that damn protruding camera. Overall, the layout is pretty ergonomic. It's easy to use both one and two-handed, but I stress that one-handed use because that is something that the iPhone 6 definitely has going for it. Apple moved up to a 4.7-inch 1334 by 750 display with the iPhone 6, which keeps it at its Retina quality with 326 pixels per inch. And I did mention earlier, it's very possible still to use it one-handed. Talking about the screen itself, there's a lot of good contrast in it, and the colors are both accurate and very vibrant, so using the phone is a pleasant experience. And the screen also gets incredibly bright, like really bright, to a point where it's still easy to use in absolute direct sunlight. So I think that's a really good addition by Apple to be able to go all the way up to that brightness, so even in direct sunlight you're basically good to go using this phone. So that insane brightness helps when you're watching videos in a bright situation or just at home, because the brightness helps pop out the colors and really see every aspect of the videos, just makes things look better. And I don't play a lot of games, but when I did play a few games on this phone, I don't even have any installed right now. When I did play them, they looked great, as you'd expect. So yeah, it's not 1080p, and a lot of people will dock points off because it's not a 1080p phone in today's world where everything is 1080p. 1080p. But the 1334 by 750, it's good enough. It has the PPI, it has a 326 PPI, which keeps it sharp. You're not seeing any pixels, and it's still a pleasant experience without wasting battery life or anything. So honestly, I'm very happy with the screen. The camera is another 8 megapixel iSight camera from Apple, which we've been seeing for a while now. But honestly, Apple really does excel with image processing. Even if the hardware itself isn't super high end, we're not seeing like 16 megapixel cameras. It's the image processing and the software where Apple is way ahead of its competitors, and the result, the pictures that come out of this camera are really sharp, but they're not like artificially sharpened. The colors are accurate, they're vibrant, they're colorful, and honestly, this is one of my favorite smartphone cameras to use out of everything I've used. You're not going to find any 4K recording, but you will find super slow-mo at 240 FPS, which is more than the standard 120 FPS at this point. You also get things like time-lapse and 60 FPS 1080p recording. So all those are a lot of good software features packed into this camera in an easy, user-friendly user interface in the camera app itself. And then the front-facing camera is a 1.2 megapixel camera, which is pretty weak, but honestly, the only thing I've used it for is Snapchat, and it does the trick for that. The iPhone 6 has only a single speaker on the bottom of the phone, and it doesn't try to fake having dual speakers anymore. It's pretty just obvious that it's one speaker, and this is the biggest downfall of the iPhone 6, and not necessarily for the sound quality. It sounds fine at normal volumes. It's definitely, you're able to hear what people are saying. It sounds pretty good actually, and it gets loud. So I haven't had any problems with sound quality, just more the location of the speaker. It's just so easy to cover up the speaker when you're holding it in landscape mode, whether it be for games or video or anything really, and it goes to a point where the speaker is dictating how you hold your phone in order to get good sound quality out of it. And Apple was founded on the basis of, perfect all the little things, and I would think that they wouldn't have this problem where it's so easy to cover up their speaker and lose all the sound quality. It's running iOS 8, and at first, when I was originally planning this review, I had a long list of bugs that I was going to mention and kind of complain about, but by now, 3 months later, most of those have been worked out, so that long list of complaints is kind of gone. All of the bugs, like the color bugs, or maybe it froze when you open an app or something, all of those have been worked out, so good job on fixing things, Apple. And really, what you see on my phone right now is all I use on an everyday basis. And this is why I've really enjoyed my time with the iPhone. It's a simple phone, but it's meant for simple people. I don't overreach the functionality of my iPhone. Everything I use is basically on this homepage with the bar included at the bottom with messages and stuff. And I like it that way. Everything's right there. It's simple to use, easy to use, and fast to use. So for that, I really do like iOS. Don't get me wrong, I love the customizability of Android, and I'm going to be switching back to Android for the Moto X 2014 after this video, but iOS offers simplicity for the simple user, and there's something really attractive about that if you know what you want in your phone. So the battery size is 1,810 milliamp hours. Yes, iOS is not very power hungry and it's pretty efficient and will last a long time, but no, 1,810 milliamp hours is not enough. I already mentioned I'm a pretty light smartphone user, especially with this form factor. I've been watching less videos on this phone just because I'd rather use my tablet or a bigger phone or something. So at the end of the day, I'm usually left with around 10-20% of my battery left. But if you're a heavy user at all, if you're loading a lot of data, watching videos, using GPS, Bluetooth, that kind of stuff, you will have trouble getting a full day's battery life out of this phone. Conclusion. For the true average smartphone user, this is a great phone. You can do everything simply and very quickly on this phone, and it looks good while doing it. But for the tech heads or the tinkerers or the heavy smartphone users, this is not going to be enough for you. You're going to want to look elsewhere, probably towards Android. I hate saying ask yourself if it was worth it, so hopefully at this point in the video, you already have a good idea whether or not the iPhone would be a good choice for you. The iPhone, it's a great phone, and it's targeted for people that just want a good smartphone that works, no questions asked. That the people that don't have time to make something work better, they just want it to work and get it done, and the iPhone's great for that. That's it for this video. I am officially switching back to Android with the new Moto X. Videos to come on that. Subscribe if you want to see some of that content. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video or if you learned something new. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay classy.